Perched around 1,600 meters above sea level, Sapa appears like a misted mirror. Terraced rice fields cradle the Muong Hoa Valley. The Hoang Lian Range towers above, and Fansipan, at 3,143 meters, touches the clouds as the roof of Indochina. In this highland chill, Hmong, Dao, Zai, Thai, and Zafo communities live by the cadence of seasons, coaxing harvests from steep slopes that turn molten gold each autumn. History whispers from hundreds of ancient carved stones scattered across the valley, enigmatic marks from centuries past listed on UNESCO's tentative roster, like secret marginalia written to the wind.
Its climate is harsh yet alluring. Subtropical summers, temperate winters, and snow on certain years. From 1971 to 2021, snowfall was recorded 21 times, rare in Vietnam, turning each icy chase into a date with the extraordinary. Higher up, dwarf bamboo and rhododendron guard the slopes, while the biodiversity of Hoang Lian, designated a national park in 2006, harbors rare and endemic species like a living treasure chest above the clouds.
Yet, behind the dreamlike canvas lie fractures of history and nature, vanished villas, storm seasons that trigger landslides, and the enduring question, how do we protect this fragile beauty amid a tourism boom? Today's journey will walk you through memory and sunlight, through silver waterfalls and honest truths, until the mist closes and Sapa remains, beautiful and real, waiting for your return.
Sapa sits on the flanks of the Hoang Lian Range, where clouds arrive and depart like breathing, leaving brief windows of crystalline sky over the terraced amphitheater of Muong Hoa. This small town, dense with memory, is pieced together by many lifetimes. Hmong footsteps in indigo hemp and silver clinks, the red Dao's bright headscarves, and the call of the market. Evening hearths glowing in Zhai homes, the steady rhythms of Thai and Zafo families. All gather in a valley lined with ancient petroglyphs, messages from long ago, under the shadow of Fansipan, the roof of Indochina, where wind passes through rhododendron and dwarf bamboo before touching the horizon. Weather here shifts with altitude and season. Mornings dissolve slowly. Noon pours a gentle light over the paddies. By late afternoon, cloud banks descend and wrap the town like a blanket. Each season offers a reason to return. Spring for sap rising, summer to escape the lowland heat, autumn for golden harvests and furrowed staves, winter for the rare thrill of frost and snow.
In this cadence, Sapa is both tender and exacting, a lesson in how people and mountains negotiate over generations. Our story opens in the town center, where the stone church stands as a temporal marker and the square glows each evening with laughter, brocade stalls, and the scent of charcoal grills threading through the cold. From here, slopes lead you toward Ham Rong, where a few more steps unveil the entire valley. Farther out, the sinuous 4D road clings to the ridge and arrives at O Qui Ho Pass, a giant window looking out to cloud seas and crimson sunsets. For a brisk ascent, the cable car carries you across the valley in minutes, setting you down on cold stone steps as the sky breaks into drifting shards of white. But Sapa is not only scenery, it is taste. At night, the town becomes a communal hearth, skewers of mountain pork and forest greens, corn and sweet potato, bamboo tube rice cracking open with the scent of charred cane, a steaming salmon or sturgeon hot pot pushing back the sting of cold.
Elsewhere, a pot of thang ko simmers by the night market, an acquired taste for newcomers, yet a cultural cross-section of the highlands. At daybreak, A bowl of kan sui jolts the town awake before you settle into a cafe overlooking Muong Hoa, where the first rays chase the last threads of mist. Getting to Sapa is part of the experience. From the lowlands, the expressway brings you to Lao Cai, then a shuttle winds into the hills. Those who prefer the slower beat take the night train, waking to slopes sliding past the window. If you want the air at your fingertips, a sturdy motorbike with solid brakes and tires gives you the freedom to stop anywhere, though remember to respect the mountain. Ride gently, wear a secure helmet, avoid scooters on steep passes, and know that in rain, the mountain speaks its own language.
Where you sleep shapes the story you take home. A homestay by the villages lets you hear the valley's night. Water, insects, whispers around a stove. On the opposite side, hillside resorts frame postcard views. An infinity pool leaning into the sky. A glass-fronted room that fog kisses at dawn. Choose according to what you wish to keep. A rain-lulled night or a radiant morning for the cleanest frames. The protagonist of this episode is not a single person, but Sapa, the highland town walking between two worlds. On one side, colonial memories and lost facades. On the other, new builds and unceasing crowds. In between are the local communities, farming, weaving, bargaining daily to preserve identity while welcoming opportunity.
We will follow them through villages and rope bridges, silver falls and mossy eaves. In each scene, we will listen for what Sapa wants to say to itself. Soon we must touch the fractures, vanished villas, rainy season fragility, and the pressure of mass tourism on soil, water, and soul. But before the thorny turn, let this chapter saturate the canvas. A highland town that tells stories in mist and wind, in market calls and stove smoke, in the smell of nighttime grills, and in a soft invitation, meet me above the clouds.
Sapa's story moves to a peculiar rhythm. Whenever it rises to touch the clouds, a counterforce tugs it down, like the mountain's own breathing. After decades of war silence, the town woke when international tourism reopened in 1993. Travelers came for the sharp first cold, for trails that thread the paddies, for horizons you can hold with your bare hands. Momentum followed. Expressways and night trains funneled visitors to Lao Cai. Shuttles climbed the switchbacks, and each curve marked a passage from city to mist. The ascent has milestones. Downtown, Sun Plaza gleams like a chromatic gate, doubling as the Muong Hoa funicular to the Fansipan cable car, the quickest leap from valley floor to Indochina's roof. Timetables, fares, and routes are optimized for crowds. Minutes later, you are amid clouds, boots on cold stone, the Huang Lian range unfolding below like a pleated map. Convenience, however, carries a question. When shortcuts become habit, do we still hear the mountain speaking? On the opposite slope of this rise lie scars of history and nature. By the end of World War II, nearly 200 colonial buildings around Sapa were destroyed by both sides of the conflict, and the town sank into a long hush. The rainy season still reminds us the mountain has its language: storms, flash floods, landslides, events to be respected rather than defied. Through these oscillations, local identity is the slender but resilient cord. In Muong Hoa, Hmong, Dal, and Zay families set the pace, weaving brocade, tending hearths, hosting homestays, guiding treks that cross the bamboo cloud bridge and the ancient petroglyph fields, carved strokes like messages from ancestors. Every ticket price and opening hour is more than logistics. It is the heartbeat of a community learning to welcome newcomers while keeping its house in order. As night falls, the town rises again. Smoke from charcoal grills threads the mist. Salmon or sturgeon hot pot pushes back the bite of cold. The small numbers,
20,000 to 100,000 VND per skewer, 300,000 to 600,000 VND per hot pot, mark livelihoods of family-run eateries paced by travelers' footsteps. Culinary warmth makes Sapa richer and cozier. Yet, when streets brim with tables, the question of enough returns. Can a town at 1,600 meters embrace every lowland desire? There are dips, too, not because beauty vanishes, but because it is seen too closely, too densely, too hurriedly. A dawn cloud hunt at Heaven's Gate can become a shuffle along a ridge. Tranquil Tavan turns into a non-stop backdrop. Thousand-year stones become check-in spots rather than letters from the past. Sapa does not refuse arrivals. It asks arrivals to leave more than footprints, to leave a gentler gaze. In the end, the rise and fall is also yours. There are days when the sky shatters into glass and you feel you've seized the horizon. Then an afternoon rain lifts the mist so fast the road disappears, reminding you the mountain is a living body, not a stage. Respect is moving slower, turning back when needed, and knowing that the finest journey is not staking a flag on the summit, but the way you step each stone.
Rise and fall in Sapa is not a tourist graph. It is a test of relationship with a fragile ecosystem. You can take the cable car to Fansipan or walk for days and sleep in villages. You can share a hot pot in town or warm your hands over a grilled cob in the wind. Each choice is a vote for an easy Sapa or a lasting one. Sometimes it begins with something small, picking up a stray wrapper, buying hand-woven cloth, greeting a local with an unhurried smile.